Dickie's Diary 27. Good day, friends, followers and fans. We are at the end of day one of my book signing tour of Australia. My publisher, James Hancock, have arranged for me to make an appearance at the Waterhouse bookstore on Flinders Street, in order to bring some joy. I arrived early to get my table set up, with all of my copies in several piles and a few pens at the ready. Sure enough, there was a huge queue of people waiting to get in. However, as they were allowed to enter the store at 9 a.m, they walked right past my table, ignoring me completely. I realized with horror that Bear Grylls was also doing a book signing that day at the back of the same store. His new book, Survival SAS Style, has won plaudits from literature critics around the world, and most of the crowd gravitated towards his table at the back of the store, completely bypassing me and my masterpiece, Bastard. After an hour of feverish activity, he had a break to rest his writing hand. As he came past, he bumped into Alain, knocking him sideways, nail extensions spread asunder. I leapt up in defence of my subordinate, I can't stand a bully, and was about to take him down when Nicola grabbed my arms and held me back. "He's not worth it," she shouted in my ear. You could see he was relieved, as a look of intense fear turned to relief in front of our eyes. He made some insulting, derogatory comments about my book and laughed at how few copies I had sold. I felt quite humiliated, I can tell you. He didn't get away with that, however. Later on, he went for a toilet break, and Mrs. Hardwick followed him in. 2 minutes later, she exited, but there was no sign of Bear, and we didn't see him again for the rest of the day, thankfully. With our rival out of action, the customers started to get fed up with waiting and started to gravitate towards our table. Pretty soon, that sight attracted more people, and I was then signing hundreds of copies until we departed at around 3 p.m. That evening on the news, we heard that Bear Grylls had been taken to hospital in an ambulance from the bookstore later in the day. A reporter said he had been admitted with a cracked femur, broken wrist, and crushed larynx. I see Mrs. H let him off the hook somewhat. She has always had a soft spot for the SAS and decided just to rough him up a little. He had the good sense to claim that he had slipped on a bar of soap and fallen against a sink, causing his injuries. Mrs. H hates a squealer, and I don't like to think what would have happened to him if she had needed to pay him a visit to explain how things are done in the military the old-fashioned way. He might well have found himself slumped in his bathroom with a syringe in his arm and an auto-asphyxiation ligature around his neck. That's the way these things have always been handled in the CIA. Ciao.